All right, guys, what's going on? So yeah, what we're watching, face off, Danny Garcia, DSG, fighting Danny Gonzalez on the right. Before we get into this, guys, I uploaded my breakdown, prediction, analysis of this fight. It goes down this weekend at the Barclays. I talked about it, and that's under my fight prediction playlist. Stats don't lie. If you haven't watched it, I don't blame you. Just uploaded an hour ago. You in that playlist this week, we did Yamaguchi, the Japanese fight that took place Tuesday. We hit on that. And then also the main event in the UK, Conway versus Littard. So before you put your bets in, if you guys want to see my film study, want to see my predictions, do that. As you're tapping in, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, do that. This is my second live stream of the day. If you guys didn't know, if you ever miss these live streams that I do, they are posted on my video section playlist called Johnny Says Boxing Podcast. I go live every day if you're new to the channel. Also, guys, join our Johnny Says Boxing Insider group. That link is pinned in the comments section right here. It's a couple bucks a month. It gives you more accessibility on the live streams in the channel, but more importantly, you get access to the Discord. There's two different levels of membership. First one right here gets you access to the Discord. The second one, you get all this access, but you get a featured video every month of your choice. You just message me and say, Johnny, do a breakdown of this video, and no matter what video it is, I'll do it for you. I'm launching level 3 tomorrow. If you guys didn't know, by day I run a strength and conditioning business, an invite only down here in my private gym in Sydney. I also have an online coaching business. So what I'm doing is I'm incorporating in level 3 a fitness component. So just keep that in mind. I know a lot of guys who follow me are either into boxing, definitely into boxing. Guys who are in shape, maybe you've been in shape before, you want to get back in shape. It's just an opportunity for you to take advantage of that side of my business as well, the fitness, strength, and conditioning coach Johnny side. So that's launching tomorrow. I'll tell you more about it throughout the weekend. Mateo, what's up? Boxing fan, what's up? So I'm playing this DSG face-off stare down. And so the reason why I'm playing this, I put up a poll in my Instagram talking about DSG's resume. You know what I'm saying? Hall of Famer. I think he's a Hall of Famer. A couple guys were talking about it. A couple guys were pushing it back. I did a poll. 70% said yes. 30% said no. Guys, I think he's I think it's pretty cut and dry with Danny Garcia when you look at who he's fought. And we'll pull up his resume now. The resume is impressive. 2 division world champion. He won titles at multiple divisions. It's just, it's kind of like, what have you done for me lately? And I'll get to the relevance of this because you guys are probably like, there's other fights we could be talking about, but this is his swan song. This is a future Hall of Famer's last fight. So shout out to Sav07. He's a Johnny Says Insider level 2. This was his requested video of the month that I break down, and I'm glad he did it too, because I don't know if I was going to get to break this fight down. And I've been a Danny Garcia fan from back in the day. And, shout out to Sav07, for kind of nudging me forward with it. So what I always talk about Danny Garcia's Hall of Fame resume, I always say start at Errol Spence Jr., even though that was a loss, and then work your way back. You know what I mean? Because that Benavidez, we saw him against Lara, guys. It's not shocking what I'm about to say. It's like we saw a very disinterested Danny Garcia. I was shocked that he even got an opportunity to become a world champion again. He's been outspoken. His goal getting into boxing was to become a 3-division world champion. They gave him this opportunity against Lara. He looked super disinterested, and then the first time in his career, he got stopped against Lara. That was his last fight, and we thought that was it, right? We thought, he's retiring, right? No. And I'll get to that in a second on why going into this weekend, I feel, no shade to Danny Gonzalez, I feel this is pretty much a lock for a victory, and I'll tell you why. But let's talk about this Hall of Fame resume. That loss to Port. Look who he's fought. Sean Porter lost. Brandon Rios, at one time, man, what happened to Brandon Rios, right? Keith Thurman lost the decision. Robert Guerrero knocked out Paulie Malignaggi, beat Lamont Peterson. Madison's a great victory. Zab Judah's a good victory. Eric Morales twice. Amir Khan. And then you go all the way back here. Didn't he fight? Yeah, he fought Ashley Theophane here back in the day. The kid, been around forever, has some great names on the resume. And up until the Lara fight, he was never stopped. So let's have a look at these odds real quick. And I'll explain. I'll explain my point here in a second. All right, here we go. What's up, Mateo? What's up, boxing fan? What's up, DJ Green in the house? So, when we all watched Garcia versus Lara and we watched what happened, he looked disinterested. He looked like he didn't want to be there. And it was kind of like, all right, he's done. And he wasn't active at all since 2020. It's not like he was active and then fought his way to get to that world title opportunity. That's not what happened at all. It was just like, hey, we're gonna do you a service. You've done a lot for our sport. Here's an opportunity to fight for a world title against Lara, who's actually older than you. And he looked like the older guy. He was hesitant with pulling the trigger. He didn't look gun shy, but he looked disinterested to me. So I thought that was a wrap. We wash our hands on a career. Go, he has a lot of money in real estate. He does a lot for his community back on the East Coast in New York. So it's like, there you go. You know what I'm saying? Like, enjoy your retirement, champ. But then he says he's going to have one more fight. And this is where leads us to this moment. Now, after that Lara knockout, when he stopped on the corner, stopped on his stool, if he never said this wasn't his last fight, like if he takes this fight and he gave an interview this week on Reddit Boxing. It was a pretty obscure interview. I'll bring it up right now after this. The Ring magazine kind of chopped it up. And he talked about it. He was like, I want to go out on my own terms. I don't like the taste that it left in my fans' mouth against Lara. And I basically handpicked Danny Gonzalez to get a victory, right? If he didn't say all that, and we're just going off of him being 37 years old, getting stopped by Lara, and still having the mindset that he's still going to fight for another few years, I would actually take Danny Gonzalez here. I would. But with everything considered, when you wrap up this fight with all that I already talked about, with what it means, it's behind a paywall. I told you guys in my Stats Don't Lie video, the most controversial thing about this fight, in my opinion, is that it's behind a paywall. $40, I think, in America. So it's going to be interesting to see how the numbers go. And, I'm hoping it sells. You got to think, I mean, I wonder how many people are going to be at the Barclays for this fight. For the career he's had, obviously we hope it's a sellout. But you take the odds at $1.22, Danny Garcia. I don't. There's no way unless and Gonzalez isn't a big puncher. He has a handful of knockouts on his record. Gonzalez's best fight was probably in 2019 against Chris Algieri, a close fight, 7-3, 6-4, lost the decision, and that's that. You know what I mean? I think he fought Ngannou. He lost a decision against Ngannou, two of the bigger names on his resume, and that's that. And Danny picked him for this, and he picked him for a reason. $100 on Garcia on the money line gets your money back plus $22. I mean, it is what it is. I think it's a lock. There's no way I see Danny Garcia in his swan song at the Barclays putting this fight up behind a paywall, hand picking Daniel Gonzalez. I never say the word lock, but this has all the trappings of no matter what happens, this is a win for Danny Garcia. So that's that. Make what you will of it, and we can move on. Any other opinions on this fight, you let me know. If he would have never given this interview, I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up real quick. Nice parlay booster. I agree. So this is what I'm talking about. This one. And if I didn't read this, guys, I wouldn't have even messed with this fight. Retirement is around the corner for Danny Garcia, but the former two-division champion returns October 18th in an event he's promoting as Farewell to Brooklyn against Daniel Gonzalez at the Barclays. Garcia, 37-4 with 24 knockouts, is expected to get past Gonzalez, who's 22-4 with 7 knockouts, and the 10-round junior middleweight bout, even at 37, following a shoddy performance in September 24 during a 9th-round stoppage against WBA middleweight champ Lara. That was the first and only time he's been stopped. Here's the quote. I made a lot of money and I still got a lot of money. The reason why I'm doing this fight is I want to end my career with my hand raised in the air. Garcia said during an AMA session on Reddit, no other reason why I'm doing this fight, strictly for the love of the sport, not for the money, not for the fame. I'm doing it just to end the Danny Garcia chapter with my hand raised. I mean, right? Bum, right? That it sounds, I just don't want to, go against my own ethics. I don't, bum. We no locks, but yeah, make say what you want, guys, right? But come on, dude, what are we doing here? So $100 on Danny. He's going on my parlay, 100%. He's going on our parlay, right? Let's in $1.22. So yeah, make what you will of it. He told us it. He's basically saying, hey, guys, all you gamblers out there, and hopefully the odds don't crash. Because I was $1.22 when you're seeing, it's almost like how I felt when I was after the Paul Gallen versus Sonny Bill Williams fights in Sydney about 2 months ago. That was a Wednesday night. And after the fight, I go to the casino here in Sydney, and I end up linking up with Chanel Dargan. Chanel Dargan's a female boxer here in Australia. And Chanel Dargan gave me that insider information about Sky Nicholson, who was fighting 2 days from then against a girl from India. And she was like, oh, she's coming in, no camp. She's going to get knocked out early. I felt guilty collecting that money when Sky won my knock. I feel $1.22. I thought this would be at $1.01. You know what I'm saying? Don't the bookies know? I assume this is going to crash. I assume these odds are just going to go down. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know if there's an adjective to replace the word shocked for my reaction if Garcia loses, based off of what we just read aloud together. So let's look at it. We'll build this. I got put on the spot earlier in my first live stream. So anybody who was on that first live stream, somebody asked me to do a 3-leg parlay. I think it was Adu or Alex. I got put on the spot. We did it. I just want to clarify that 3-leg weren't my locks. So I built it with you guys, but I'm not saying that was action I was taking. Wouldn't every fighter say that? What are his opponent's chances? Now, I don't know, man. I don't know if every fighter would say this, bro. I made a lot of money. The reason why I'm doing this fight, no other reason I'm doing this, not for the money. I'm doing it to end the Danny Garcia chapter in my life. So the reason why not every fighter would say this, boxing fans, the fact that it's Danny Garcia's promotional company. The whole card is built around Danny Garcia's statement right here. The reason why I'm doing this fight, I want to end my career with my hand raised in the air. They picked him. You know what I mean? They picked him. But to answer your question, what are his opponent's chances? His opponent's durable. Danny Gonzalez is going to be, it's going to be a competitive. I expect it to be, it's going to look like a sparring session. Am I going to pay the $40? No. I don't even know if we're offered it in Australia. There's a lot of fights this weekend. The Danny Garcia fight wasn't on my bingo card. And like I said, I want to shout out Sav07 or Sav4. I think it's Sav07. He's a Johnny Says level 2. And if he wouldn't have requested Garcia versus Gonzalez, I probably wouldn't have done a Stats Don't Lie video. But because he did, and this is Garcia's last fight, and I was a fan of Garcia's career, now I have a receipt that I broke down the last fight, and I'm actually happy about that. So, Kiza B, can you really trust Garcia to be training hard if he's saying it's an easy win? I've never watched Gonzalez. Let's these are fair points. Let's pull up some of the I like some dogs too. Let's pull up Danny. Slow motion.
Same thing you was on last year. You lose value when you switch.
Yeah, I don't want to get copywritten. So that I thought maybe we could see some training. Yeah. A lot of his videos, we're not going to see too much training. We're having trouble playing this video. Yeah, he doesn't put a lot. He doesn't put up a lot. So, boxing fan says he loves some dog. All right, let's talk about it. You love some underdogs. I don't think this is the underdog. I don't. I don't think this is the underdog to take though. We could get into some underdogs to take. Let's see. We could talk about some dogs. I don't see Danny Gonzalez beating Danny Garcia, just for the sake of it. Underdogs. I brought this up on Monday. I shared it in our Discord. I wrote a list. I think there were 4 of them. Guys, remember, underdogs are based off of odds, right? So that's all a dog is. There's been a lot of chat in my Discord about Shannon Ryan versus Chloe Watson. I I could bring the Discord up. Let's look at these dogs first and see. I mean, Chloe Watson is a live dog here, but I mean, I really haven't done too much tape on Chloe Watson to be sure about this. I know some of you guys in my Discord have done tape, and I can bring up the chat in a second. Kieran Conway, he's my underdog of the week. He's the British Commonwealth champion on paper. He's $2.10. I put my bet in on Monday. I got him at $2.20, and he's kind of floated back and forth between $2.10 and $2.20. I'm very confident with Conway beating Littard. I think I think this is a tailor-made sort of too much too soon for Littard. So this is one of my dogs. I mean, is anybody giving Sharita Metcalf a chance to beat Ortiz? Metcalf looked real for how suspect Danny Garcia looked against Lara. Metcalf looked equally. Metcalf basically got dog walked against Shanika Johnson. What we saw was a fitness sort of contrast. Shanika looked like she was just like 5 levels above Metcalf in terms of that output. And we know, Sharita, she's long in the tooth, and we got to see that. Possibly, is anybody giving Metcalf a chance to win this fight? That's maybe a fight you could look at. Here's another one. I don't think Bruno Ruiz should be a 4-1 dog. I think these odds might be a little bit suspicious. This fight here. I'm not quite ready to jump on this, but Bruno at almost a 4-1 dog against Alvarez. It's something to think about. This is a lock for me. So I follow. Uh, I would definitely. This is a lock for me. Desley Robinson. She's an Aussie. She gets no love. She has a small group of fans in Australia. I follow her promoter. I've been watching her training camp. Go to Desley Robinson's Instagram. $1.13, not a lot of good value. And I know we're talking underdogs, but her name just popped up. Desley Robinson. She's gonna win this fight. Here's another one. These are interesting odds. So, boxing fan, I'm, you know, I still got about 24 hours to decide. We got Omar Juarez versus Rosario, $1.22. Rosario, those are, man, I think these fights should be more like a little bit 2.5, maybe 3-1. Definitely not 5-1. Again, Rosario versus Juarez. I think those odds are a bit off. And then with the ladies, there's always a chance with the ladies to draw. People are talking about, this might be a 50-50 fight, Juarez versus Plata. The odds, Juarez 100 gets your money back. She's a 2-1 dog. I'm thinking if we're gonna sprinkle something on a draw, you know what I'm saying? If we want to sprinkle something on a draw, this was the one I was looking at. Maybe, draw, we always have upset alert. This one has draw alert for me. But we'll see. Watson is a dog. Okay. Crystal Rosado Ortiz is Serrano's protege, definitely a lot behind her. Yeah. Who do you like in this one? Metcalf is losing. I think Metcalf gets beat here too. Mar, who do you like? So Kiza says he got Watson. Let's see. This one. So these are the boys. Kiza, I know a lot of you boy. I know Bum Equipment. I know from my chat here, we know who is in the Discord, but some of you boys have different names in the Discord, so it's hard for me to match. Maybe we should keep the same name for the sake of our chat. But you guys have been kind of learning me. I'm gonna learn you. Reading your chat, whoever it is in the Discord going back, and I'll bring it up. You guys have been dropping fight tape. You guys have been dropping your film study on Ryan versus Watson, and it's interesting. And so Kiza B says he got Watson. After I acknowledge one more point, we'll get to the Discord. High interest, my guy. Super chats. Appreciate you, high interest. Beast. Yo, Johnny brother checking in. Like the stream. Let's go. Guys, second live stream of the day. We're back. We're back on track doing 2 a day. High interest. I appreciate the support. You support me on multiple levels, so thank you. Guys, if you can, like the video, subscribe, join the Discord. That link is pinned in the comments section below. Thank you, high interest, one more time for the super chat. I got Metcalf losing. She was just completely outworked last time. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing too. And I want to go back slightly and acknowledge my boy real quick, Julius, because he kind of commented this late, and I'm gonna get to this, and we're gonna go back to the ladies. But Julius, Danny Garcia last performance against Lara, it was Julius, and we acknowledged that. And I said, if Danny Garcia never, after that fight, if Danny Garcia doesn't do a press conference and says after the fight, I could still be a world champion, I'm gonna drop back down to 50 to get back, put a couple wins together and try to become a 3-division world champion, and then we see he's fighting Danny Gonzalez, I would be hesitant. But because he announced he wants to have one more fight, this is his swan song. He wants to go out on top. He's promoting this fight. He built this whole card around him. It's behind a paywall. I don't see him losing this fight. I don't see him losing the fight. I made a lot of money. I'm not doing this for the money or the fame. I'm doing this to end the Danny Garcia chapter in my life. I want to end my career with my hand raised. So, if he didn't say that, I would be hesitant. I probably wouldn't bet this fight. And this was a level 2 insider's request. So, shout out to Sav07 for wanting me to break down Gonzalez versus Garcia. That is up on my playlist, fight predictions. Plata coming to 2-year layoff. Y'all still believe Garcia can win. Okay, let's get to high interest. Watson. Let's go Keezer real quick. So Keezer, I'm going to bring up the Discord real quick. I just want to show the people who aren't in the Discord how this looks. Okay. So I was reading, you guys over the last few hours were really diving deep into Chloe Watson. You guys were showing film study of Watson versus Zaputkana and Shannon Ryan versus Chloe Watson. Like, you guys have really looked into this fight. So this is who's sharing all this? This is PJ. So PJ, did you comment? What's up? There he is. So PJ, over the last few hours, you and Bum Equipment, you, Bum, Mateo, David. So Bum Equipment goes, is there anything, if anything, Chloe Watson fights confidently, not really focused on defense. David, check C, Tyler Denny, Bum Equipment, I see. Mateo, noticed that Rod, I think. So who are you guys leaning on this fight? That's just the stare down. Who do you guys like in this fight? It's a 50-50 fight. Ryan versus Watson ends in a draw. And I think that's what we talked about. Give me 1 second. Important to know. He trained her for a while. Bum Equipment. Okay. Bum Equipment puts up an interesting point. What do you guys make of this? Bum Equipment says Ricky Hatton was in Chloe Watson's corner against Zap. He trained her for a while. She got a similar style to Ricky. See, I didn't know that, Kiza. See, shout out to the Discord. You boys are dropping little. See, we got an educated ass group here, man. I did not know that. I didn't have time to look into this like this. So he trained her for a while, has a similar style to Ricky. So let's go look at these odds. Oh, the dog's barking here. Is this look, if I'm gonna jump on board with the Discord, if I'm gonna jump on board with this, I'm gonna break this fight down. Mateo says, I got Ryan 50-50 though. Can't be mad if Chloe. I mean, if it's this close and everybody is going back and forth, and you're giving us Chloe at 290, so the bookies, like, is this line just off? Let's pull up the resumes or the draw. I mean, when's the draw's only 14-1. Usually it's sitting around 16 or 17. I was leaning Ryan before tape. Now I'm leaning Watson. It's crazy, dude. Like, when I got off my first live stream earlier today, boys, and then I had to go help my girl, and then I went to powerlift. I did a powerlifting session, and then I came home, and then I edited and uploaded a video that I already filmed, the Danny Garcia Gonzalez tape. And so I was probably disconnected from the Discord for 3 hours. I check in the Discord, and the last time I looked, it was all Kieran Conway versus George Littard, and then it was all this fight. And I'm like, what the hell, dude? You guys go deep, boy. Shannon Ryan, Chloe Watson. Interesting. Does anybody have Watson on their parlay? Jinru. I got Ryan, but it'll be a close fight. Even in the loss to Emma Dolan, I think she looked good. Now, is this Emma Dolan fight where she allegedly got dropped? Did she get... People are sharing drop boxes out here. Shannon Ryan. I saw one of you guys. Did she get dropped? Chloe Watson versus Jasmine. Watch her last fight. Got it. People are dropping Martin Luther King quotes out here. Okay. I'm gonna have to do my own work. Look, I'm gonna do my own. Obviously, I'm gonna do my own due diligence. So it was a fluke drop. From what I saw, guys, am I off on this? It happened in the middle of the ring, and it almost looked like that she was grabbing a hold on, and then she was expecting the ref to separate them, and then something slipped through, and then she drops to a knee. Was that kind of the scenario? Ryan's been dropped 3 times, I think. DJ Green, the judges gave it because of that knockdown. Um, I'm sure you guys saw in the Discord. We were talking about the Kieran Conway versus Hama Williams 9th round drop too. Shout out to, I think it was either Mateo or Bum, one or maybe it was Kiza, because I made an error in my Stats Don't Lie video and I couldn't correct it because it was already uploaded, but I edited it in our Discord. I initially said that Conway had never been dropped, but Ammo in the 9th round, it was ruled a knockdown. So I sent the knockdown towards the top of the convo. Okay, so keep going. So that is Mateo. Is this it? Here we go. You boys are savages. All right, let's play this. So who is this? This is behind the ear, behind the head. She looked kind of dazed there. Yeah, she looked stunned there. That one. Right there again. She looks stunned there. Okay. That's a knockdown. Are people arguing that that's not a knockdown? Schofield versus Jojo Diaz. We could talk about that later. We'll wait. We'll wait. All right. So where are we? All right, guys, we are 30 minutes in. Anybody want to call in? We can do a live call if you guys want. If you see that link, so for all the people in the Discord, that link now, all you have to do is click that, and I get a notification on this screen, and you could come on. And you could either do video or no video. So if anybody in the Discord, any Johnny Says Boxing Insiders, this is a new feature, guys, on the live streams. We started it yesterday. On all the live streams, after the 30-minute mark, we do a call-in feature. So you guys can call in, give you some screen time, ask some questions, drop some bombs, break down something. I'll give it up to you. That link is there, so the only people in the Discord can access this, and I will get a notification on my screen, whoever wants to come on. And it says up to 6 people. I could get like 6 of you savages on here. So just let me know. Click that link if you want to come on. That behind the back of the head, though. Yeah, so I guess the controversy then would be the location of the punch, not like this. Okay. What do you guys think of this one? Oh, shit. Let's play this one. Oh, that's the same one. Body rip. She's getting that. Looks like she's getting that ass beat. That was belt to ass type shit right there. All right, this is the one I shared. So this has relevance to us being split kind of 50-50. I told you guys earlier, I love when Gary and I disagree on fights. I love it. He's taking Littered, and I know a lot of you guys are taking Littered. If it was up to me, and this is just how my personality is, I kind of wish 95% of you guys would pick against me. I like being the underdog. I don't care about not following the crowd. I really mean it. It's just my personality. So when I was watching Gary's live stream and he said he flip-flopped and he was going Littered, I was like, yes. Yes. I don't like when we all pick the same sort of side. You know what I mean? I like being the oddball out. Let's watch it. This is round 9, Conway versus Ammo. Let me know what you think about this. Was this a knockdown? I slowed it down, by the way. Look at him. He leaps for. Look, he leaves the canvas. Both of his feet are off the ground there. Isn't that insane? Ammo jumps off of the canvas. Look at this guy. And then this. That. So this was ruled a knockdown. I'll play it in real speed. We'll do this one more time. I'll play it in real speed. Is this a knockdown? Put no knockdown or yes knockdown. I'm interested what you guys think. The ref doesn't count. He counts him. It was considered a knockdown. Here, I'm going to play it in real speed for you guys. And that second one is me slowing it down with my editor, but you could see why. It happened so quick. It happened so quick. So Daniel says it is a knockdown. And the only relevance to this is that I fact checked myself, because on the Stats Don't Lie video I said he never been dropped. So I wanted to and I corrected myself. So yeah, shout out to whoever, the chat will hold you accountable, which is great. So boxing fan, I call, but my girl has a core. Dude, that shit was real, man. You have no idea. I remember afterwards I left, went downstairs. I'm kind of like registering everything that had happened. And I call my best friend who was living in Vegas, Dre. And I tell Dre what happened, and he's like, Johnny, dude, you need to get the hell out of there right now. He was like, that bitch is crazy. So if you don't know the context, I talked about that on a live stream prior. Brendan tapping in. What's up, buddy? Brendan, Ryan keeps her lead hand down. Chloe's hand speed might be a problem. I was reading that's what some of the boys were saying. Yeah, it's a good pickup. It's a good pickup. Let's see what Chloe. God damn. That's that late 90s, early 2000s expression where I come from. You see, God damn. You do that. Let's get a video. Is this just a photo? Yeah, these are just not a lot of footage, is there? I want to see some. Yeah, boxers tend to do that. You don't. Some boxers are real kind of moot on it. Fit as hell. So right, her lead hand down. Yeah, she does kind of do that. That's a good pickup there. Are the dogs barking then, guys? Are the dogs barking? It was her in her last fight. She got a questionable knockdown. Is this about that art girl? Hilarious. Litter don't hit harder than Ammo. Now he don't. Yeah, but also, man, so we're kind of flopping back and forth. But shout out to Boxing Fan, who if you notice, guys, this is the second week of me actually using proper streaming technology. So it works. I could go back and forth now because we got these tabs. So it keeps us kind of boom, boom, boom. We can jump, right? Litter don't hit harder than ammo. That's just a tough, the whole, like, it's so subjective who hits harder because it's not punch. A hard punch isn't always black and white. You know what I mean? Sometimes a hard punch could come out of nowhere with timing. Sometimes, the feint hits just right and you catch them coming in, and yeah, ammo could crack. Mervin, it's coming. Mervin Albano, can you please post your? No, I will. So it is my Thursday afternoon. Tomorrow is Friday, and then the fights happen the following day. For everybody on YouTube, I'll give you my parlay, and then for the Discordians, everything else. We hit on our first ticket this week. Nobody wants to, as quiet as it's kept. We already hit. We hit in Japan. We hit with Yamaguchi at $1.95 by decision. We only talk about our losses though, don't we? The boys only come out, Johnny, you was wrong about this. Fucking, I'm gonna remind you about when we hit then out here. Shoot. Brandon, the draw is barking in that fight. Here, I said the same thing, Brandon. When you look at the 14 to 1 odds, the whole chat in the Discord is loving Watson, I think. And then 2-minute rounds. Some of the boys are saying they're kind of tailor made for each other, the styles. So yeah, I got to be honest with you, just my personality type. It almost my like me on my betting app. It's almost impossible for me to hit draw. You know what I mean? Just because like the competitor in me, the like you guys know, a lot of you guys are former athletes, and some of you guys still compete at anything. Do you remember when you a game would end in a tie? You're just like, yuck, dude. I'd rather lose than end in a tie. I remember I couldn't wait to become an 11-year-old because the league I was playing in when I was 10, the 9 and 10-year-olds in baseball, they didn't have extra innings. So there would be games that would end in a tie. And I remember I just couldn't reconcile it. I remember this one car ride home, I'm 10 years old, and I'm just talking. I'm like, Dad, I was crying. Our team tied. I was like, what do you mean? How could it just can't end? We don't both win. I was like, I feel like we both lost. So my whole point is, and then when you're 11, we had extra innings. So I remember I couldn't wait for the next year. If that ever happened again, we could play it out. So like my point is with picking a tie, it's so hard for me to fucking hit draw. Yeah, I'd rather have it 100%, dude. Same. Look at those fucking odds. Same. I would too, but I'm just saying, I'm not gonna lie. If you guys have access to my phone or my betting app, you would be able to see all of my bet. You'd be like, Johnny, you ain't never pick a draw? I just can't do it, dude. I can't. I can't come to just hit the button. It's like I try to, and then the finger goes the other way. It just doesn't happen, mate. It doesn't happen. This cat out here, boy. Where did that go? King picks out here, boy. Nah, man. We already covered this, big dog. We already covered this, big homie. Danny Garcia should fight Boots. This is his last fight. I'm ending my career getting my hand raised. If that doesn't tell you this is a tailor-made victory for Garcia, I don't know what to tell you, boys. I never use the word lock, but when my man, it's his promotion, he looked like what is Gary? I heard Gary say the word dog water before. He looked like cat water before. I'm a contrarian. You say dog water, I'm gonna say cat water. You go that way, damn it. I'm gonna go the other way. So anyway, he did look like shit against Laura, but it's his promotion. He said this is his last fight. It's behind a paywall. It's pay-per-view. No reason why I'm doing this fight. I don't need the money. I want to get my hand raised. He's not fighting Boots. Ah, Frankie B. This is interesting. This is one I was looking at. This is interesting, boys. Check these odds out. Juarez Rosario. I brought this up earlier in the stream, guys. I haven't taped either one of these guys. I know who they are. I've watched their fights. I haven't taped them because I can't give an ethical 100% that the dogs will be barking. But off jump, earlier in the week when I saw these odds, I felt like they were wide. I felt like Juarez versus Rosario were wide. I feel like Rosario, like I said, this should be maybe 2-1, not close to 4-1. Does anybody see the dogs barking? High interest. I told you I think Ammo and Berlanga would be a good I agree. You know what? Ammo and Berlanga would be a good scrap. But Ammo's kind of a small 60 though, high interest. You know what I'm saying? Ammo Williams, I think, could fight at 54. Am I wrong with that? I think Ammo, if he wanted to, he is muscle bound, but he's kind of a small 160. So that's where the issue would be. And Berlanga is a thick 168. So I'm gonna jump on the Discord call when you do it. Nah, brother, if you're in the Discord and you want to pop in, the link is in there, guys. Guys, anybody who's in the Discord, anybody who's a Johnny Says VIP, you want to jump on this live right now? Go to the Discord. Go to the bottom of the chat. And right here, so before every one of my live streams, guys, for all the VIPs, just so you know, and some of the newer VIPs who sign up, we got a lot of them signing up today. I put that link in our Discord, and all you have to do for our call-in feature, if you're a VIP, is click that. I'll then get a notification here on my screen, and then you can come on and then speak. We'll give you a couple minutes to talk fights, shoot the shit. Keep it copacetic, though. Keep it copacetic. Berlanga isn't that big. He's just I was being diplomatic, King Picks, mate. I was being diplomatic. I mean, he cuts to 168. Doesn't Berlanga walk around like 205, 210? Johnny says when you get a bit bigger, you should do a celebrity boxing match like you versus Berlanga. A bit bigger? No way, man. I appreciate you have faith in me though, King Picks. You're my guy. Beck the Bully versus Berlanga. Get my boy Beck. Yo, man, we're talking about Bektamir. Dude, we hit big. That was Kiza. That's a perfect example of a fight I like to break down because 80% of you guys were with Gary when you picked Darius Fulgham, and I had Bektamir, and we got up. But DFG, Darius Fulgham has a fight coming up. Dude, Bektamir is one of those guys. Not a lot of people. He's just a goddamn tough night at the office. A tough day at the office. Not a lot of people are going to put their hand up to fight him. And same thing with kind of like Derevianchenko. No, he's long in the tooth now, but those are just tough fights, mate. You know what I'm saying? Like you fight those guys, it's just a long night. And so that's why as boxing fans, we have to rely on the promoters. We have to rely on the teams to actually set this stuff up. But Beck versus Berlanga, that's a rough fight for Berlanga, right? What do you guys think? That's a rough fight for Berlanga. Let's go back to look at some of these odds. Actually, let's pull Omar Juarez versus Rosario real quick. I want to see what they've been up to. This is Juarez. He's a 4-1 favorite. 19-2, 7 knockouts. 26 years old. El Relampago. Lost to Bartholomew. How about Rancis? Do you guys see Rancis is fighting Frank Martin? It's interesting. Frank Martin, he's one of these guys that really, doesn't have a lot of fights, doesn't have a lot of big names. You know, his step up against Tank, we saw him get beat, but he has that thing that not a lot of fighters have to where when Frank Martin fights, people get excited about it. Isn't that interesting? Do you get like I find that interesting that some fighters have it and some fighters don't. And it's not like Frank Martin. Frank Martin has holes in his game, and he's not even a loud guy. He doesn't. He's not a big sort of talker on social media. He's a blue collar guy. But you know, every time he tweets something, which is rare, every time he get fight news, people seem to like him, man. Like it's cool. Like I kind of like that about Frank Martin. He has this sort of organic following about it, and he's fighting Rancis. He announced that. So Rosario fought Rancis, lost to him. How did that play out? That was in May 23. That fight was at 47, 95, 95, 98, 92. Look at those scorecards. Jesus. Those scorecards are quite insane. Anybody watch this fight? I'm not going to sit here and tell you I watched this fight. I didn't watch this fight. 95, 95, 98, 92, 97, 93. Interesting. Let's check it out. And then so he lost to Rivera. Oh yeah, Ali Rivera. So it's two losses, Rivera and Rancis. Let's check out Omar Rosario. This is an interesting fight. Rosario's 14-2, 4 knockouts. 27 years old, Puerto Rican. So we have a 26-year-old and a 27-year-old. Both guys got 2 losses. 5'10". He looks like he's going to be built like a goddamn tank. So he's lost to Elijah Flores and Angel Rebiar. I have to tape this. I have to tape it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Relampago means lightning bolt? What a great nickname. Michelle Rivera was his best win. Anything past 168. Let's pull that up. Yeah, what is it about Frank Martin, man? People love him. And you know, I gotta be honest with you, I do too. Like every time Frank fights, I watch it. And I feel like he was, maybe it's the mental side, maybe it's that grit and determination. But every interview I've ever seen Frank give, how he trains, he's like a blue collar throwback sort of guy. You know, he dresses flashy, but he's not like he's kind of a paradox a bit to me, actually, personality wise, because when you see him, sometimes he's flashy, but you could tell he likes being by himself. And he was having good moments against Tank, but you got to see the levels. You got to see a kid in Tank who had fought since he was 5 years old, and a guy in Frank who picks the sport up. I think Frank started boxing in his late teens. And why I reference that is because all the little things, the minutia of the sport, being able to set traps, being able to pull, being able to feint, being able to think a couple steps ahead, the chess, the science of it, is where Frank fell short. He didn't fall short with his willingness. He didn't fall short with his physicality. It was those tiny things. And I remember, I think it was the second round. Tank had Frank circling to Frank's right against the ropes, and Tank kind of went like that, and Frank bit hard, and Tank winked at him, and he was like, "Yep." He was like, "I got you," and it was fat. Those are the little things. This is why I love boxing. Those are the little things I look for. It was just like last week with Boots versus Lima. After the second knockdown, I talked about it when it happened. Boots, the ref is counting Lima, counting him down. Boots looks to his corner. As soon as he dropped Lima, Boots looks to his corner, looks at his dad, Bozy, and Bozy kind of, obviously gave him the go-ahead, and Boots attacked. So it's like the little things of the sport, which I love. And Frank, that's where he fell short against Gervonta. Look, Mar, I'm a fan of Tito. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see the Mercado fight. Who was Tito supposed to fight? It was it was Jermaine. He pulled out, right? He got hurt. Didn't Mercado had a shoulder injury? I think this would have been what 6, 7 months ago. Because unlike Frank Martin, Tito's all for it. Tito will chat shit. Tito will get on the mic and he'll let you know about it. It's wild to me. I would think that Tito would have a bigger social media following, but he doesn't post a lot.
Chin, call him up. He ain't shit. He ain't shit. He gonna get his ass full of February 14th. He ain't shit. Bring his ass up here then. Bring his ass up here then. And I'm knock you outside after. He ain't gonna do shit. Keyshawn got no chin. Shakur got no chin. Call him up. He ain't shit. He ain't shit. He gonna get his ass full of February 14th. He ain't shit.
That's him calling Keyshawn out, calling Shakur out. Do you remember that? I remember that. I was like, because at the time, you don't see people talking. You don't see people talking like that to Keyshawn or Shakur, especially to their face. I got time for Mercado, man. I ain't gonna lie. I got time for his character. I want to see him active. I want to see him healthy. You know what I'm saying? No, Ortiz was supposed to fight Claggett. I'm talking like 6 months ago. Maybe this was a year. No, this maybe 9 months ago. No, Claggett fights Teofimo Lopez, and then he gets signed to fight Jermaine Ortiz. But like, why is he on stage here? Mercado was in a big fight. Wasn't Mercado supposed to fight Jermaine Ortiz and got injured and had to pull out? Let's check. Jonathan Montrell. He's been so he was supposed to be on that undercard. I think it was before that. What's the chat saying? He was walking him down around. Tank knew the lights moment wouldn't overwhelm him. Yeah, I agree. The Jonathan. What's this one? Ha! I actually posted this shit. That's hilarious. That's just by coincidence, mate. I just Googled this shit. That's hilarious. This is in my Facebook boxing group. That's freaking funny. Sorry, my fans. Tito Mercado. Okay, that I must have been thinking of someone else, guys. I'm not gonna dive into that too much deep. That's one thing about my personality, boys. I will get fixated on something. And like the other day, I'm looking at my bank account. My phone uh, alerted me that like 11.99 was taken out by Wingstop in New York City. I'm like, bitch, Wing. And I'm with a client. My phone vibrates. We're powerlifting. I'm teaching one of my clients like the technical side of doing a Zercher squat, which is a front-loaded, power lift. And I get this notification. I'm like, Wingstop? I ain't never been. And then I was like, I need to press pause on this because I could spend the next 3 hours down this rabbit hole and get fixated on it. So it's something I'm working on. So I was obviously thinking about something else. I thought Mercado had something else bigger lined up, but obviously he didn't. So let's go back to Suarez, Rosario. There's not there's really nothing there, was there? What about Jaden's fight? He said, is it a setup? He's plus 1,500. Guys, I'm not touching any of these fights. I'm not touching any of the plus 1,500s because there's a lot of them. Let's see. That might be a good shout. That's with Troy, right? Isn't Jimmy fighting Troy? That might be a good shout. Give me a second. Yeah, I was looking at this fight. The thing is, the thing is about this fight, guys, though. Troy Coleman fought in a draw. This is how I'm well versed on this fight. Before I uploaded my Danny Garcia breakdown, I was gonna do a stats don't lie on these guys because one of you boys were asking me. And then I was deep diving into Troy Coleman. Check this out real quick. Troy Coleman has a draw against a kid who I think is like 15-43. So I'm gonna let that load. Jimmy's yeah. Jimmy's the safe pick here, boys. Troy Coleman fought Robbie Chapman, who was 13-45. Not that long ago to a draw. So yeah. Yeah, 13-45. Jimmy Sains by knockout $1.43. That's probably the move. That's probably the move. You know what? Did we just find our prop of the week, boys? I think we just found our prop of the week. Shout out to Don Julio. Another cool thing about the new setup is now we have receipts. Don Julio has the receipt for. I think this is going to be my prop of the week. Jimmy's going to knock out Troy. Sains by knockout, $1.43. I like it. I like it. I love this phrase. So I'm going to end it on this phrase because it's one of my favorite phrases in current boxing, as we always talk about. Man, this cat went life and death with Raheem. You know, Raheem and them, he went life and he's going life and death with Journeyman Coleman getting knocked out. And on that note, guys, stay tuned. Like this, subscribe, join the